We're going to be upgrading and moving around some of the lights in my fish room today. I've got some brand new Orphek LEDs to try out. Before I can get to that though, as normal, everything basically needs to be cleaned. It's been about 4 or 5 days since I've cleaned my glass, so let me give it all a bit of a spruce up first. That is a bit nicer, isn't it? Look at that! That is a baby molly. That is the mother molly. And this is a saltwater tank. Yay! So we've got saltwater mollies now living in my systems again, which is really cool. So in this box, there are 3 new Orphek OR4 LEDs. At the moment, we currently have a Reef Blue on my top system, and we have 2 of the MACROALGAE Spectra ones on this top tank of MACROALGAE. And then in the box, we've got 2 freshwater plant Spectra Orpheks, and another one of these blue ones. Blue Octos likes blue Spectra, and in here, there's some Gracilaria mammillaris, which is that red sort of splodge at the end of my finger. And since I've put it into this tub under the blue Spectra, it is growing, which is something I've not been able to do before. So I'm assuming the mammillaris really likes the blue Spectra as well. So I've got another one of those to go at the back. And then at the top here, things are doing okay, but I want to get rid of this Hygger light at the back there. Not because there's anything wrong with it, but I want something a bit brighter. And I'm going to use one of the Interpet lights I've got on the other system, which I'm removing, and put it over here. On top of that, I've got an Orphek OR3, the older version, but in the 18K, which is this one here. I think it's got ultraviolet as well in it. And I'm going to put that over onto this system, so I'm going to have a bit more blue Spectra on here as well. Before I do that though, I think we should give this puffer his prawn, because he looks pretty hungry. Oh my god, he's actually snatched it out of my hand then. I tend to give him one of these prawns every other day. Interestingly, I don't know if you can see them. I don't think you can. Oh, there's one directly below us, hang on. Whoop. So, he's not interested in these baby mollies at all. I was attempting to keep them out of the sump, but he does not see them as a food source, which I am surprised by. So these are my Orphek lights. Obviously they're still in the box. That's how they basically come. I think Orphek's pretty good. I have got a range of lights in this shed. I've got, obviously, if you follow me, you can see I've got this Fluval tank here with the Fluval LEDs, a plant one and a reef one, the new 4.0s. I think they perform really well. You can see behind how lovely it is. But some of my LEDs are getting a little bit old. These are the previous generation of Fluval plant and reef, and they are growing, but growth is slowing, and I think it's getting a little bit long in the teeth. So I'm going to entirely upgrade at some point to Orpheks. These lights are SEAOURA, this one here, I think it's a Hygger one at the back, and they are quite bright. You can see they're growing Cheeto really well, but I found that for this kind of macroalgae, the red species, the harder to grow stuff, the cheaper lights from Amazon, like the Hygger ones and the SEAOURA ones, just don't really grow very well, the macroalgae, other than the green stuff. You could probably grow caulerpas and stuff under them quite nicely, but I'm finding that I need an upgrade. And the Orphek ones are doing really well. I may have just changed my mind though about moving these red ones. I might just chuck the blue one on here to make the Spectra have that blue peak, because these have no blue at all. That's one of the I think one of the issues really in terms of my needs, because these are excellent at growing green macros, but reds probably need blue. So I'm actually probably just going to leave these where they are, and then put that blue one in the middle, and then put the freshwater planted ones down here, mainly because it's a lot easier than moving everything around. If you're wondering how I've got these stands, these are the mounting brackets from the Fluval Plant and Reef 4.0s, and handily they fit perfectly in the little mounting holes for the Orpheks. So it's a bit of a hack, I guess. The problem is you can't buy these stands separately. You have to buy, well, as far as I know, you have to buy the Fluval Plant lights themselves to get the stand, so kind of pointless if you're doing that. But I had them spare, so it seems to work quite nicely. So it'd be very easy just to show you the end result, but when you're mid-project, it does end up being a bit carnage. You can see my desk here, there's lights everywhere, we've got screws everywhere, we've got the power pack open over here. I'm going to put the Orpheks onto the power box there. The reason being is there's nothing other than my desk light running off this power box, and I thought I could easily just stick it on the plug socket on another timer, or I could do it in a nice neat way and use the power box. So I'm going to put a little bit of extra effort in here and just make it a bit more tidy. So I just got this rack done. It looks super, super clean and pretty. You can see the different spectra of these Orphek lights. So this one now, because I've got the Reef blue Orphek light on there, the spectra has changed obviously because it's got more blue in it. It looks way, way more like a reef tank should do. That bright sort of red effect has gone. It's got more of a blue tint to it now, which I actually really enjoy. So we'll see how and if this improves the growth of the macroalgae. Down below in the bottom tank, I've changed the lights from the Interpet Tri-Spec 2s to the Orphek Daylight. These are the ones for freshwater plants, but they should be the right spectra for green macroalgae, probably red macroalgae as well. And you can see the vast array of different LEDs in these bars. They emit a very clear, crisp white spectra. Although the LEDs all look different, when they combine together we get this beautiful clear white spectra, and that's one of the beauties of the new OR4s. The LEDs are all lensed, so they have this 120 degree lens on them. The previous ones, the OR3s, one of my complaints was when you looked down you could actually see the different colours on your sand bed or gravel bed. They weren't really mixing to give you that full spectra, whereas the new versions, the OO4s, you can see it's just a clean white colour, or red or blue, or whichever spectra you want to get. The full emission guide for the spectras of the different lights are available on the Orphek website. I'm not sponsored by Orphek for this video. I've bought all of these lights myself, completely under my own free will. So this is nothing to do with selling Orphek lights. I just think they're really good, and for the price of them, so each of these bars cost me £170. So okay, that's a lot of money, but when you compare it to things like Fluval or Max Spec or all of the top end quote unquote lights for reef tanks, these are an absolute steal. And the new versions, we can see the power supplies here. So at the top, that's the original LED driver, 60 watts. The two at the bottom there, slightly askew, are the new versions, and these actually have an inbuilt Wi-Fi controller. So you can actually do all your daytime schedules, you can do your spectrum changes, everything you'd expect from a Wi-Fi controller and more, because it tracks the moon, tracks like daylight saving hours and all sorts of stuff. You can do that all via a Wi-Fi app, which I've used in my house because I got Wi-Fi in my house and it seems to be very good. Unfortunately, in the shed here we don't have any Wi-Fi, so I'm just using them as is, and basically what I'm doing is I'm putting them on an analog timer and they just come on and off, so I'm not benefiting from any of the sort of fancy settings that I can get, but you know, they're working really well. My algae has responded with growth. I've had these macroalgae versions for about 2 months now, and I saw a significant increase in my growth rate of my macroalgae when I switched to the Orpheks. So I highly recommend them if you want to upgrade your lights. On a note about corals, we can see that this coral here is a metallic green xenia, and it's been doing really well just under the macroalgae spectra, funnily enough. So with this blue, I imagine this thing's going to start growing like crazy. Well, that took a little bit longer than I thought it was going to, but we didn't run into any problems. All the lights I installed worked, and I've actually done the job I set out to do. My tubs here at the bottom have got a lot of light now, hoping that's going to improve the growth rate of the codium and the gracilaria in here. The Gracilaria over here though is doing really nicely under the blue spectra. I do have a question mark about this one in the middle. I don't actually think it's doing a great deal. I'm expecting some new lights to review soon, so I might actually end up getting rid of the light that I've got there and replacing it with one of these brand new SEAOURA lights that I've got on the way. Up the top I'm using old technology, but I still find these lights to be incredibly good. These are Interpet Tri-Spec 2s. They are very, very high quality LEDs. Unfortunately discontinued, but I'm still using them. I am, I think, suffering from a little bit of LED degradation. They're not quite as bright and as good as they used to be. However, they still are excellent at growing a wide variety of macroalgae. And of course, the brand new upgraded system. We've got our lovely Orphek lights here. You can see the coloration is excellent, and I'm anticipating a boom in growth of my macroalgae.